Hello. Today I'd like to speak to you about the recent events with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein that's been broadcast all over Palm Beach County in social media, regular television media, and so forth. The bottom line is there's finger pointing as to who's responsible for the way this case has been handled. At the end of the day, I don't want to point fingers, and I don't think any of us should be pointing fingers. What we need to have is a conversation about what happened, what went wrong, and how we can do better than that, and we can correct the system. Mr. Epstein, as everyone knows, was convicted as a sex offender. He was supposed to do his time here in Palm Beach County in the jail system for 14 months. During that time, he was allowed to go home and to his place of business 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Being a registered sex offender, or even if he's not registered, but he's been convicted as being a sex offender, he should not be afforded that opportunity. There's been a lot of finger pointing within the sheriff's office as to who was responsible for this. The bottom line is the sheriff of Palm Beach County either knew or should have known that Mr. Epstein was being allowed to be on work release 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Also, in addition to that, a deputy was provided to Mr. Epstein to stay with him those 12 hours a day. There has been some investigation going on and allegations about Mr. Epstein being allowed to be unsupervised within his home and his place of business while the deputy stayed outside in their patrol car or whatever vehicle they were driving. At the end of the day, I don't think we should be putting this responsibility on our deputies. Really, the bottom line is there is no reason that any sheriff or any judge or any state attorney should allow a sex offender to be allowed to walk our streets 12 hours a day, 6 days a week when he's supposed to do his time in the jail system. At the end of the day, we all failed. And it's a shame. I can promise you, as your sheriff, a policy review will be put in place, which should be in place right now, and it should be conducted at a minimum of once a month, where a panel sits together and reviews all existing policies to identify if there's any shortcomings within our policy. And they need to be addressed and represented to the sheriff, where he then can sign and put them into action. Today, the Sheriff Bradshaw announced that he is conducting or ordering an internal affair investigation on the deputies that work the detail to see if there was any wrongdoing on their part. I don't really think that that's the answer. The answer is internally within the organization, the top brass. They need to take a hard look at themselves and identify, did they fail at their jobs, and not look down at the deputies who were paid overtime to work this detail. So as I said earlier, I think the entire system has failed our community and the victims of this horrific crime that occurred. I hope and pray that you give me the opportunity to be your sheriff, and I can assure you this will not happen on my watch. Thank you.